checking out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vine, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a new river thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as the valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark.
Beat Arizona. Agreed, Vic. 100%. Welcome to our Family Fencing Studios here on the Finally Friday edition. I'm a little tardy today, so yeah, we'll cut the intro a little short there. I know. I'm not supposed to do that anymore. I got yelled at by peeps because they really like the open. How are you? Hope everybody's doing well, wherever you decide to tune in here today. Purdue gets a tap in at the buzzer to beat Texas. Iowa's in the Elite Eight. Did anybody have that? Maybe some Iowa fans. Arizona's a juggernaut, and my bracket destroyed because Houston didn't show up against Illinois. They didn't even score 60 points. So the Big Ten already with Illinois, Iowa, and Purdue, 3 teams already in the Elite Eight. They could go as many as 5, depending on what happens tonight. We'll have baseball today at Radford. It got moved all the way up to 12. It's supposed to rain pretty consistently later this afternoon into the evening. So that's going to be pretty nasty. So we're playing at noon today if you want to come out to the stadium, 4 o'clock tomorrow, 1 o'clock on Sunday. So, yeah. Hey, Chris Martin. What's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you as well. Thanks for coming out to the women's NIT game. That was fun. It's up, KB. I seem to remember that, yeah. I seem to remember you said Illinois would beat Houston. Hate that for Kelvin Sampson. We were hoping, man, you and I were talking. I met Kelvin Sampson once years ago. Very nice, just a very genuine human being. And I was pulling for him as a coach. I don't really have a dog in the fight in this tournament anymore, but he was one guy I was pulling for. So I kind of hated to see that, to say the least. Because I really like him. I really like him. Good stuff. Good stuff. So anyway, so they made some adjustments. I saw, boy, you hate it. So what happened was if you pay for this studio, and boy, do I pay for this studio. StreamYard changed its logo, things like that. It's okay. Let me see if I can show you what the logo looks like here. It's this guy. See him up there in the upper left when you take down the Big Dog logo? See him up there? It's like a little duck with headphones. And they changed a lot of the interfacings and things like that, but for the most part, it's still okay. From Miami and the KC and the Sunshine Band studio where they did disco right, to the NRV of let's all do a little dance, make a little love, and get down tonight. BDST is alive. And, well, sexy is in the eye of the beholder. Unless you're looking at Selma Hayek, and then it's just completely obvious. Thanks, Morris. Morris is in town, by the way. Look out for him, Morris. Hanging out. Hopefully I get to see him maybe tomorrow at baseball. Come on by the facilities. We'll have baseball and softball weekend at Radford. And it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun. Didn't watch a lot of hoops last night in the Elite Eight. Got busy. Got home a little later and just kind of followed a little bit of the Purdue game. And then the other game starts so late I can't stay up anyway. So I tried to watch some of the highlights. You know, they do a good job. By the way, Nate Burleson continues to be the absolute worst studio host in the history of studio hosts. The CBS studio host show is a complete disaster. My God, we miss Ernie Johnson. But in any event, as insufferable as that is, Purdue's game was pretty cool at the end, 79-77. They got a tap in at the buzzer, and Texas's Cinderella run is over. And the Iowa Hawkeyes, in a battle of the corn, as Andy Bitter said it, beat Nebraska 77-71. Think about it. They're in the Elite Eight, and if Florida hadn't pressed, they may not have ever hit a three to send that game to win that game. Illinois over Houston 65-55. Didn't watch a lot of the highlights because it looked extremely boring. Illinois only shot 43%. Houston shot 34%. That's not good. That's not going to win you a game in March. And then Arizona looks completely unflappable right now. They just destroyed John Calipari's Razorbacks 109-88. They had 100 points at the 5-minute mark. Don't see anybody beating Zona unless Zona really has a bad night. They're really, really good. And then tonight, St. John's Duke really intrigues me. Alabama and Michigan. Nah. Could that be Nate Oates' last game as the head coach at Alabama? Michigan State and UConn. A couple of coaches that say, you don't like the way we coach? Don't really care. I love the people that try to put in the new soft tones of expectations from coaches with guys like Tom Izzo. Now, Tom Izzo gets a lot of love, but he's only won one national title. He's good. He's a hell of a coach. I'm not saying that, but it's obviously worked. And Danny Hurley, who's clearly a toolbox as a human being, right? But he has a right to coach his team any way that he wants. And I think it's just so funny to see this modern age. It's not even media. It's just propaganda. To see how they try to ask these coaches these questions about how they coach their teams. Keon, if you're still around, you were coached very aggressively, very honestly. I know you appreciated that. You've talked about it many times. The softness and the expectation of softness, that if it doesn't exist, is almost like people are offended that ask these questions in today's, I don't even want to call it media. I don't even know what it is. It's just propaganda state. The American media, the access media, and sports media now has segued into that. It turned into something from like a third world country promoting whatever, it's just terrible. And I just love it when these coaches fire back like, just shut up. Everybody, especially in this day and age where everybody's making money, pay for play, they're going to continue to be coached harder. They're going to continue to be coached like pros because that's what they are. They're pros. They're no longer just college athletes. They're on a scholarship. You can't be mean to them. But the expectation from the questions are, wow, you're really loud and you get tough. Aren't you worried about hurting feelings? No. So anyway, Michigan State and UConn, that'll be an intriguing game, 9:45. And then after 10, it'll start about 10:30. The game I'm probably least interested in, Tennessee and Iowa State. I can't see me making much of an effort to stay up late to watch that one. Yeah, it's not journalism. Nobody covers anything. I won't say nobody. There's very few that actually cover anything as journalists anymore. It's all agenda-driven. And those questions, you can see them in the presser. And I love Coach. I do appreciate the Izzos and the Hurleys of the world just say, well, get over it. Do you not know what sports is about? Did you never play? Look, I was coached as aggressively as any high school kid in the state under Joel Hicks, but I never took offense at it because I knew he always had my best interest at heart. And when you would see him outside of practice in the hallway at school, he'd talk to you, ask you about how your parents were doing, how schoolwork going, things like that. He'd always say, hey, look, you ever need to come by and see me before practice. And then you'd go get your ass chewed in practice if you didn't listen and you didn't do the things you were supposed to do. Or if you hit a quarterback out of bounds after you chased him across the field and you got, reminded that you can't do things like that. Okay. Did I take offense to that? No, I got mad at myself for making my coach feel that way about me because I had that much respect for him. Man, I can't do that anymore. Why am I putting myself in that? Why am I putting him in that position? But nowadays it's not like that. So I like it when these coaches fire back. And, I like it when they just say, who are you? How old are you in here asking these questions? What generation are you from? What are we supposed to do? Everybody's just supposed to grab hands, kumbaya. That's not how coaching works. That's not how you get reaction from players. And you're going to have to coach them a lot harder now because it's going to be much harder to reach guys that are making as much money as the head coach in certain cases. That's what we're going to get into unless there's some kind of legislation, which there won't be anytime soon. This thing continues to spiral out of control. Tim Sands' quote yesterday, you saw that, the Tech president, made its way around. If you missed it, he was quoted by several people. Ross Dellinger, who I still think has the best interest of sports journalism at heart, said that this is what Sands said: if you agree with the premise that an entirely unregulated spending environment would be the demise of college athletics as we've known it, then you understand that we need some sensible and enforceable spending guardrails. If you believe that college athletics, untethered from the academic mission, is not a viable way to maintain fan interest, then you agree that the student-athlete model should be preserved. So this is Sands imploring Power 4 presidents to act before college sports completely blows up. He wants them to sign a CSC participation agreement, dissolving collectives and other aspects of that. So Tim Sands in the news because he is the NCAA Division I chair, which is very scary. And it's one thing to get up there and say these things. Okay, you're also part of the problem. Some of the comments pointing that out as I read through them. But what are you going to do now going forward to try to implement any of this? Who's going to take the charge? You can urge on the other presidents all you want. But most of these presidents aren't on a day-to-day basis following college athletics very closely. It's just one aspect of their presidency. It's one aspect of the things that they oversee. In no way, shape, or form is it the only thing they pay attention to. So, hey, look, people can implore things all they want. Doesn't mean anybody's going to take any action to get it done. As long as the people in charge at every level are still getting paid way too much money for doing nothing, whether you're talking about the president, whether you're talking about the commissioner, whether you're talking about the athletic directors, whether you're talking about the coaches, nobody's going to do anything as long as their own money is not affected. People now go into leadership roles, or they continue in their leadership roles, and the first thing they're thinking about is how does this affect me? Not how this affects my department, not how this affects my university, not how this affects this particular sport or these young people who are coming into the school. It's how does this affect me? How is this going to come back on my paycheck? And if you have a president that really has no clue about what's going on, and a lot of these schools, I'm sure, fall into that category, haven't paid enough attention to it, then people are just going to continue to go until someone says, hey, we're going to have to start looking at what you do as being part of the problem because nothing's getting fixed. So Sands can say this all he wants to the presidents, but it's all about the board and what they think about the job the presidents are doing. Creed, by the way, Balboa Creed is coming off his third kill already of the warm weather. So let me get him in. Yeah, he was eating this morning, and he wasn't eating in-house food. Hang on. Good job, buddy. Go take a nap. So in any event, there we go. There's our my diatribe on the perils of college athletics once again. Morris says, I drove in from West End Radford last night. First time in probably 30 years. Looks good. He drove by the attorney Ryan Price's office. That's good. That's good. That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, hopefully, Morris, you can get by the stadium tomorrow. Baseball is at 4. Yeah, that's the other thing, Thunder. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that Sands is going to be out anyway. So what's it really matter? What do you think? If he is going to leave in a year, if he's going to retire, does he think that anything he says is going to be implemented in the next year that he's around? And the answer is no. Just no. And I really don't think anything's going to be done for a while. Because at the end of the day, people are very selfish. At the end of the day, people don't care. They put on like they care, but they don't. They put on like they're really concerned about college athletics and what's going on. But really, at the end of the day, they don't give a damn because they're not affected by it, really. Because they're looking at their oversized paychecks and they're going, wow, my bank account looks pretty damn good. Well, we'll let other people complain about it. Maybe somebody will pick up the mantle. We'll do what we can do here at our school. LSU. So Will Wade leaves North Carolina State. Goes back to LSU. And I posted, let me find it again, on our Facebook page, which, by the way, has nearly 4,000 subscribers. Wish we get that transferred over to the YouTube channel. LSU this year alone here you go. LSU's spending in the last 6 months. Lane Kiffin contract, $91 million. Brian Kelly, $54 million buyout. The reported 2026 football roster, $40 to $50 million. Matt McMahon buyout, $8 million. Will Wade buyout, $3 million. And then, of course, they're going to have to pay Wade's new contract. So $200+ million just in the last 6 months that they have spent out. That would have eaten through this brand new budget that Virginia Tech's boasting about. Isn't it crazy? T-Bird says the people who are affected by this are all the parents and non-scholarship students. Correct. Who had to put their lives in hock to get a degree. That means less with each passing year. Absolutely it does. Hey, Reggie, what's going on, man? Good to talk to you. Haven't been in a while. We'll be interested in your thoughts. When was the last time a VT sport or athlete exceeded expectations? Oof, that's good. It's a good question. One particular athlete? I mean, I guess some of the wrestlers are, but again, you're talking probably major sports. That's a good question. What's up, Thunder? With only NL East games today being Braves, Royals, Colorado, Miami, the entire division could be. Baseball, Major League Baseball is basically dead, and it's acting as if it knows it's going to go on hiatus, right? You know how the NHL season starts, and I know a lot of people aren't hockey fans. You know how even the NBA season, but mostly like the NHL season will start like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you'll look up at the end of the week, and there'll be 3 or 4 games already played, and you go, oh, yeah, hockey's going on. That's kind of the way baseball, used to be the national pastime. America's true sport, baseball, just kind of started on a Wednesday night on Netflix. No games on television yesterday. You had to find a subscription or be part of Major League TV to watch any games. Major League Baseball, it's going on. Isn't that crazy? Baseball's become that. Baseball it needs a year off. And I think that's where we're going to head after 2026. Again, horrible leadership or no leadership, terrible commissioner, selfish owners, even more selfish players. Nobody wants to give in. Nobody wants to give anything up. See, this falls right in line. Major League Baseball is perfect. A perfect example of what I was just talking about with college athletics. Nobody cares because they're all making money. So nobody's worried about bettering their game. All these folks, I love the game. I'm here for the love of the game. Wasn't that a Kevin Costner movie? Well, no, you're not. You're there for the love of the lifestyle and the zeros in your bank account. Because if you cared about the game, you would say, hey, we do need a salary cap. We do need a salary floor. We need to fix this because it's completely off the rails, but nobody cares. So there you go. I don't know. Yeah, Cam Phillips is a good one, Wayne. I don't know if Tootin exceeded expectations. He was pretty highly regarded. I mean, he was a killer at North Carolina A&T. I think he developed like he should have. That kid was very talented. That was probably, of all the people that Brent Pry brought in from the portal, that was by far his biggest accomplishment. APR was already so accomplished that it didn't really, That was just one that got lost in the tracks at Florida. But, yeah, that's a good question. Basketball, nobody. Right? You can't think of one basketball player. I can't. But we'll talk to this gentleman joining us next. We got a lot going on here today. That guy, Coach Elmo, who's leaving. You're going to Mexico next Tuesday, right? Is that when you're heading out?
Next Tuesday. Albuquerque. You ever been?
Yes, actually. I have been to the Pit. Radford played there many years ago, 2004. We played out there. It was one of those holiday tournaments, so we played 2 or 3 games out there in New Mexico. That's when I went on my first I went on a tour up in the woods with and they didn't want to be called Native American. They were American Indians. They were proud of that. I don't remember what tribe it was, and they took us up and took us on like a hike, and that's when we talked about Bigfoot.
I've never been out there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Coach, how do you fix things in, let's say, college sports or anything else when everybody's just worried about their own stuff and really nobody cares? I'm at the point now, nobody really cares what's going on. They can say all they want to, but actions speak louder than words. What do you think?
It's the tough part is, people keep making comparisons to the NFL. Well, how can you make them? The NFL is not, states have nothing, the state that it's in other than the taxation as far as governing and how the NFL is governed with the commissioner, and it is a business, it is an entity. The universities, you have so many moving parts, just the numbers of sports that it's going to affect, even if it comes down to 2 sports. Think about it. The NFL, it's the NFL, it's the NBA, it's Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
These are professional sports, and until they deem universities as professional entity within the athletics, it will not be solved. Again, I go back, I look at that NCAA logo on every one of those basketball jerseys, and the hypocrisy it makes me throw up. You're looking at, and hey, listen, let me tell you, I don't know, having coached at the ACC, with the old Pac-10 back in the day, the Big Ten, SEC, Southeastern Conference, I got to go to a lot of basketball games. That doesn't make me an expert, bar none, but I went to a lot of basketball games, especially during the ACC times when I was at Virginia.
Yeah.
I've never seen talent like this. It reminds me of the years that, Jordan was playing at Carolina and the impact of all those great AC with Lefty Drizel at Maryland and those great teams he had that never won a national championship. I'm watching these games last night, and the talent is just ridiculous. The influx of the foreign, I think the foreigners coming in, because I think they don't cost as much with the opportunities.
It's true.
And it's now it's a matter of which assistant coach has a relationship with the European leagues. I think as much as anything else, who's getting hired. The head coaches are one thing, but the basketball assistants, same thing with football. Recruiting, it used to be, what area have you experienced, and do you have a reputation when you walk in the Tidewater like I used to at Richmond? And I know I was going to be treated. I had credibility right away, and trust and credibility right away. And again, that was worked and earned. So without digressing, I think it's right now, it's an unfixable problem, because you're just dealing with, again, University of, or so-and-so tech, or so-and-so state.
Yeah.
And 50 states multiply, just take the 2 entities of Auburn, Alabama, Michigan State, Virginia Tech. And and how it affects, all these people are trying to, and then bringing the government in. That's a joke. That they can't figure. They have enough problems to deal with.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Athletics. So again,
you're right.
The greed of the presidents and the commissioners of the league, and I can't say the NCAA because they got nothing to do with college football. Now, basketball, they got everything to do with basketball in that CBS contract. Look at the logos all over the place. You will not see one of those logos at all on a uniform, on a billboard, on a commercial during a college football game. You will not. So I don't know. I think it's right now, today, it is unsolvable. They have no answers. They don't. And, Tommy Tuberville probably is a guy who at least he's been in a football coach that's probably got at least an idea. But, I was listening to Izzo the other night. And the one thing they do not respect the college coaches, the NCAA or whoever, because they don't include them. Nick Saban's retired. If Nick Saban was not retired, he wouldn't be going to President Trump or going to Congress or being, sought after to how do you fix this. If he was still coaching in Alabama, guess what he's concerned about? Alabama.
That's right.
And his program. And that doesn't make him bad. He wasn't there. He's not in Alabama to solve the world's problems. Like I used to tell my players years and years ago, I don't have a degree in social work. I'm not, if you got issues that they'd probably be on my pay grade and you need help and we'll help you do that. But I'm not that guy, back in the day. So, when you're asking, but they do not include coaches. But when you look at commissioners, presidents of universities, and the greed chasing the money, it's bit them in the ass.
It has.
That's the bottom line.
No, 100%. The immaturity lies with the people who are supposed to be in charge. Yeah. I'm tired. I'm a little tired of everybody trying to blame the young people. This isn't the athletes.
Oh, no, it's not. And then think about this. How about this? The people giving the money to pay these players.
See, that's it right there.
How about that? It blows my mind. Hey, God bless them. There are probably maybe some people listening to this show that have that money that are big givers to Virginia Tech. I'm not mad at you, but let me tell you what: if I had your money, I'll be damned if I'd give it to some
absolutely
20-year-old.
Remember,
remember what Shaq? Sorry to remember what Shaq. I love it what Shaq said when his kid said, "Hey, Dad." Shaquille O'Neal goes, "Hey, Dad, we're rich." He goes, "Oh no. I'm rich."
Hey, remember I was told a couple months ago by somebody over at Tech, pretty high ranking, that this was just a money laundering scheme. So you're right. So in other words, what they're saying is people just sending in money thinking, they've already got the money. Why do you do that? Why do people still do that?
There's got to be a means to the end. They're giving that money for a reason. Maybe it's a huge tax write-off. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably it.
No clue. But, it just, like I said, it's the adults in the room. And it all goes back to the greed of, hey, let's the video, particularly with the NCAA, hey, we'll do the video games, which is NCAA sanctions, and the jerseys, and you go into the bookstore and you see the NCAA label. So guess what? Money was made. And that's where the players said, well, wait a minute now.
Yes.
Name, image, and likeness.
That was NIL. Right. That's what NIL was supposed to be.
The intent was good. Hey, you're selling my name, my image, and my likeness, and you're making a profit, and I'm not getting a penny?
Correct. Right.
That's where it all started.
It's funny. That's what my article is this week. That's my article this week at the Patriot. People keep calling it the wrong thing. This isn't name, image, and likeness in any way, shape, and form. None. No, it's all about pay for play. Every bit of it.
It's now it's legal. And that's legal to pay the players. You are paid to play. And until You look at the NCAA basketball tournament, you don't hear anything about NIL in advertisements. Hey, come to college. We have NIL. You get to make money. You get to no. They're still trying to push the degree. After a kid's gone to 3 different schools, or some European guy that's 24 years old that's played 3 years in some league that it's not a high school league. It's not post-grad league. It's a professional league that are getting paid.
100%.
I mean, I'm looking at these guys. Like I said, all you needed to see was some guy's name on his back name, Elmassian. They go, he ain't from around here. That man's not. He didn't play at Franklin County High School.
No, he's not. He's not from Rocky Mount. That guy. The thing that I'm still blown away by is that the schools had too much power for too long, and they abused it clearly, which is why all this happened, which is why O'Bannon won the case as convincingly as he did. And now it just seems like the power shifted right to the other side. In snap, in a blink of an eye, the schools gave up any kind of control over any of this. And it's just strange to me how it went from one extreme to the other. There was no middle ground. It just went from one to the other.
Now, this is the double barrel middle finger to college football coaches and college football, the NCAA. Because don't forget, they never got a penny from college football.
Is that what this is? You think that's what this is about?
I do.
Yeah.
My, don't forget, I went to Ferrum. I did go to William Mary, but I did go to Ferrum. No knock on the school, but when I got into college, they asked me my SATs. I told them, "Oh, that was your math score." No.
No,
that was the
combined score. Yeah.
Do I think that's a part of it? Hell yeah, I'd throw 100 on it. It's not the reason, but I'll guarantee you it's in the top 10, and maybe in the top 5. They just and they were so, I've always said they confused control with accountability. Oh, Nick Saban's controlling. He's too controlling. It's called accountability in a multi-million-dollar business. These guys are in charge of when you're a head football coach at Alabama or at LSU, you are now in charge of a multi-billion dollar business.
That's
and
true.
Guess what? Okay. And you're going to cut the 10% that's not earning value to the organization. Period. You cut the bottom 10% of the earning people that aren't earning. That's a rule. Your rule of business is what, Rick? To make money.
Right.
Why? Because I have a payroll. I have people that are involved that are getting paid. And in order for them to get paid, we have to make money. Well, in the sports world, it's called winning. And so, I do believe that the NCAA has said, okay, they're going to take the control, which really they took accountability away from the coaches and put it to the players in the form of control.
Yeah, right.
And they like I said, they gave the double barrel middle fingers to both to the college coaches and college football, and walked away and said, "Good luck." Okay, good luck. Some of you guys bitching and pissing the moment we need to pay players. Okay, here's what here's the bag of crap we're gonna lay on your front porch, and good luck.
Absolutely.
And they walked away. And that genie ain't going back in that bottle now. It's not this, and there's too many diverse factors involved. How can you federalize or unify 50 different states with different programs in different conferences?
That's right. It's great. It's dumb, isn't it? The whole concept is dumb. You're right.
Yeah. Years and years ago, decades ago, Harvard's vote in the NCAA's business in college football was equal to Alabama's vote, and the programs were apples and oranges. They ain't got a bunch of oranges in the basket. It's every fruit you can ever want to conceive are in the basket. And how are you gonna solve that? Until that bucket gets shaken out and it's just nothing but oranges in there, you can fix it. But those presidents don't, like I said, the president of Virginia Tech, could care less about the athletic issues at Virginia.
Yeah, he's just yapping it. He was just yapping yesterday.
Doesn't make them bad people.
No.
But that's the fact. And they're not supposed to. Their obligation is to their university and the people involved in their university. And so that's where it's not in my lifetime it's going to be fixed. And I may have hopefully 10 more years left, Rick, but who the hell knows?
Well, and that's the thing about it, because I've gone 180 on this. Everybody, keep everywhere you go. I mean, you talk, the athletes aren't loyal. The athletes are I'm like, you know what? Screw that. If I were a superstar quarterback and I could go play at Virginia Tech 1 year, and oh my goodness, I have an all-conference year, and then, hey, here comes, I don't know, Alabama. Here comes Michigan. You name it, Ohio State. We're going to pay you twice as much as Virginia Tech. Am I going to listen? Am I going to think about going? Yeah. Actually, I am going. Because the system is presenting that opportunity to these players. I would do the same thing they're doing. So I hate it when it always comes back to, boy, these players aren't loyal. Okay. They're taking advantage of the system. They've never had this before. So.
No. And again, Rick, it still comes back down to NIL as it was supposed to be. Or even if you say, okay, some guy's got a lot of money, says, hey, I like that quarterback. I want him coming to our university. I'm going to pay him. Got a problem with that. I mean, it used to be like that years ago. And now it's legal. And guess what? When the cheating was back in the 60s, they got really good players.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you couldn't jump around.
That third string wasn't getting a penny.
No.
That backup tackle wasn't getting a penny. But that starting tackle and that starting running back, hell yeah, they're getting paid really well. But my point being is if you, you get to that point now. I know Coach Norton is fair, and we didn't have scholarships. We did not a penny. He never scholarshiped a player. You were on work studies. I was in I worked my job in the work studies program to get money to help pay for the tuition and taking out loans. Was pulling trays in the cafeteria at breakfast. Everybody had certain jobs on the campus. My summer job was working with the grounds and cutting the grass and stuff and so when if we were being recruited, he'd always tell us, hey, if they slide you 20 or 100 or whatever, take it.
Yeah. Just take it.
Or, $10, $20 for gas for your car or whatever.
Yeah, right.
No, God bless him. And here's the problem, Rick. Okay, I'm giving Rick Watson some money to play for Radford in basketball, and you become really, really good, and you say, I'm taking the money and I'm leaving. And I'm leaving. The portal is to me, the biggest problem I have is the combination of NIL and the portal. Yeah. By itself, either one, I have no problems with. Like I said, I was in the portal before the portal.
Right. Constantly, right? Every year to year.
hey, when Coach Beamer, when that group played for Jerry Claiborne back in the 60s, about 100 something would come in, and about 60 left, and they were given like 80 scholarships. The SEC at one time was giving about 60 to 80 scholarships. And they just find out who's left and run them off. Bring them in and run them off.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that the coaches run them off. They quit. I didn't run them off. They made the decision. I'm not the bad guy here.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So,
are you going to be able to join us from Albuquerque next week? What's your schedule like?
Yeah, again, Monday. I can't do it Monday.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
because I've got to drive down to Charleston.
Absolutely.
And then hit the plane, and I'm really scared to death about the travel with this TSA. I think North Charleston Airport shouldn't be too bad. Once I get, hopefully the flights aren't delayed because I got a connecting flight in Atlanta. But coming back's going to be hairy because I'm supposed to come back on a Friday. Saturday, I got to get ready because Sunday I'm driving to Port Canaveral to go on a cruise. So if I'm delayed at all, it's going to be like panic time. So, but just stay in touch with me.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, listen, safe travels. I hope everything goes okay with TSA. Good Lord, it does look like a night.
It's just I like flying, but I hate airports.
I know.
I have anxiety. I get there like 3 or 4 hours before the flight. Bring a book, read it. I don't care.
No, I'm with you.
But hey, how about the basketball games? I'll let you go. But my favorite St. John's. I think St. John's will beat Duke. If Duke plays like they have been playing, I think St. John's will beat Duke.
Kind of feels like they could. Yeah, it really does. Really does.
That's it. Well, listen, that was fun. Anything else you got for me today?
No, I think so. I think we're good. I want to get your take on all that.
When you text me and wanted me to be on Friday, this is like the ultimate because your Fridays is an all-star cast, man.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Well, you're part of it. So there you go. We just added to it. We added another star to the Walk of Fame today.
Well, hey, if you're doing dollar signs, you may give me a half.
There you go. Yeah, but
I'm a one-star guy, Rick. I've always been a B team guy, second choice for a lot of people. I know my place. Trust me.
Oh no, it's great. And then
I love the show. I love the show.
You've made it so much better, Coach. I know, and trust me, everybody here, I hear it all the time. They just treasure it when you're.
I want to come out to this Super Bowl thing.
We're going to do it.
I sent you my calendar.
We're going to do it.
3 weeks up until the end of April, I am slammed, and I've never been.
We're going to do it after baseball season. We're going to get in the summer and do it, so we have more time.
Oh, great! Yeah. I'll come right out, bring my fly rod with me and the fish that I caught.
Absolutely. You got to be there. Right, we can't have the bash without you, so we're going to make sure you're there. So.
Have a great weekend.
All right, stay safe, Coach. We'll talk to you in Albuquerque.
Cool.
Coach Elmo joining us on the program. Yeah, we can't have a BDST meetup without Coach Elmo, right? I mean that can't happen. It won't. I won't allow it. So there you go, Morris. Coach he's going to be there. He just said it. So there you go. We'll do that after when we get in the summertime. We'll get all that done. Dwight Vick scheduled to join us next. Mike Ashley, the open mic, and then Jen, who will come up with a myriad excuses why she's not going to blow into that saxophone again today. So get ready, everybody. Get ready, okay? Just everybody get ready to be disappointed. Horribly and completely disappointed once again. But think about it. Am I wrong? Do you disagree? What would you do if you were a 19, 20-year-old megastar and you're playing at a school that, that can pay you, but then you have a chance to go to an absolute cash cow that can pay you more? What are you going to do? Does it mean you don't appreciate your time? I'm using Tekken as an example. Does it mean that if I were a all-conference quarterback as a sophomore or junior to Virginia Tech, and then here comes a Big Ten or SEC school powerhouse that wants to pay me double, does it mean I don't care about that place? No, it just means I'm making a business decision because all this is business, right? Fans are going to be upset. Oh, look at the disloyal. I can't believe he's jumping. Why can't you believe it? Coaches do it all the time. They have been doing it all the time. Look at Will Wade. There's buyouts attached. Now, they are employees. That's the other side of it. They already have contracts. If these players do become employees, and David Smith said it yesterday, he's on our board at Radford. He said, look, they've got to become employees. It's the only thing that's going to solve this. And he's 100% correct. The only way this is going to be solved is if the athletes are going to be treated as employees and they're going to have contracts and they're going to have stipulations within the contracts. It's the only way this is ever going to be solved. But how is that going to be implemented with a lot of legal red tape? How's it going to go now that they've opened up Pandora's box? How are they going to be able to reel it in any way, shape, or form? And that's where I have absolutely no faith that it's going to happen. And I've also gone 180 in the last couple of weeks, and I agree with Coach Elmo. I thought maybe that getting Congress involved might be the only way to try to bring some order into this. But now, knowing how government and Congress always has been, how are they going to help? So I have no answers here. But I also don't see any hope that it's going to be rectified anytime soon at all. And I'm talking years. Who's going to fix it? Tell me who's going to fix it. Unfortunately, what it might take is athletic departments to start going out of business. And when that starts to happen, which I think is inevitable at some point, the money can't keep coming in the way it is. And I think donors are going to become more and more frustrated unless they just have, FU money, billions and billions that they just have in the coffers and they want to help, or they want, like Coach said, a tax write-off, whatever it might be. When does that money stop? Or when does it become less? Because I think people that were loyal donors always thought, well, they need this. They have to have this to help build this wing to a stadium, or we do need a new weight facility. They need a new training complex, a new field house. This will help. Well, now they see all this money that's agreed to time and time again to continue to increase payrolls in this pay-for-play era. I mean, at some point, I would think donors would ask the question, all right, if they have this kind of money, like if you're an LSU booster, and I know it's a little different environment down there, and you see that in the last 6 months, your athletic department alone spent over $250 million on things that, don't necessarily mean that you're going to be ready to compete. Wouldn't you have to answer the question or ask the question? Okay, so let me ask you this. And this is where the phrase money laundering scheme just comes back to roost, and it might be the most accurate description of all this I have heard. And it's from someone who handles this type of thing at TAC. It's really the only thing that makes sense. We're not being given an honest evaluation of what's going on. I don't believe it. Mike Ashley and Jen coming up, thanks to Coach Elmo. And there's that gentleman. He is Dwight Vick joining us on the program. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Good morning to you and your team and your listeners. I'm good. I'm doing great.
Thanks for coming on a Friday. I know you've been extremely busy, man. I know your last 2 Thursdays you've been starting early. So
yeah, man, work. They've been calling early meetings and different things like that. So yeah, 1 week I was supposed to meet with you. I was with a group of students that we were doing Macy's. We were helping kids get suits and
it's awesome.
Doing some stuff for Unity Reed High School, that JVG program. So yeah, but I'm here, man. Thank you for calling the audible, being able to put me in motion, man. I appreciate it,
anytime.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Audibles are a good thing, especially when it involves you. So that's great.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we got on this with Coach Elmo and what Tim Sands had said yesterday. And I want to get your thoughts on all this. I mean, the thing I'm getting tired of, and I thought about you, right? Because, your son's going through this now, right? He's getting ready to do some things because everybody wants to blame the young people. Everybody wants to blame the athlete. Everybody says, hey, look how disloyal. Everybody says, oh, this guy, all he wants to do is stay in college to make money. Well, whose fault is that? Is that their fault? Would I do the same thing? You've talked about it, right? Why are we blaming the 19, 20, 21-year-olds for taking advantage of a system that they didn't create? It was handed to them, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think there's a misconception. I am going through it. We're getting ready to start taking visits because the portal for D1's opening up. So he's got some schools that are serious about him, and some schools that just reached out, just kind of throw their name in the hat. So it is a business. It was a business when I played. I think people have short memories or don't know the insight going back to the 90s and 80s and 70s And how could everybody know that depending on how old you are? So I'll give you a great example of perspective. My cousin Michael Vick, I was there as a redshirt senior when he was redshirting. I recruited him to Tech. Everybody knows we're family, we're close. When he was gaining momentum the year they played for the national championship as a Heisman finalist, Mike did not own a suit. I remember because my then girlfriend, now wife, we went to Roanoke to Men's Warehouse to get him fitted, but he had to get a suit. And Beamer and Steinspring and Bud and Hype and Bustle could not buy him a suit. You think about this is arguably one of the top players in college football history, along with Reggie Bush, all the guys that you see, Cam Newton, everybody that played the game, Rocket Ismail. He's always going to be mentioned as one of the best of all time. And everybody during that time, even if you were at another university, saw what he did for Southwest Virginia's revenue stream when it came to the jersey sales, yet his mom was driving a school bus in East End, Newport News. Now, somebody could say, well, he was getting a free education. Well, again, someone with 4 degrees, maybe 5, I think. I got all these degrees. For me as a licensed therapist, you need that kind of education. It proved to be beneficial. But in today's world, in corporate America now, a degree does not carry the same value. Many of the degrees you do not need to get in order to get into your field. Entrepreneurship and other curriculums and businesses don't require degrees now. So to push education as the equivalent for what Michael was doing for Virginia Tech is insane to me, because you saw what it was doing, right? So this is a kid from East End, Newport News that could not afford a suit. And yet the benefits college coaches get during that time and now with their contracts is based on what a Michael Vick can do for you on the field. So you get, and Lauren Johnson, the coach at Highland Springs, at the former DB great at Virginia Tech, showed me this when he became the head coach at Stonewall High School, now called Unity Reed. He showed me, I remember, because he stayed with my wife and I when he moved from Southwest Virginia to Northern Virginia. He read to me a contract. Their stipulations they get when the players all conference, when they make their weight, when they graduate, they get bonuses and bonuses, all based on what we do. Yet during that time, our stipend, this is a true story, our stipend we got after games to go what they call spending money for after the game was $10. You went to Lester Carlin's office in where the equipment was, and he gave you your name with an envelope with your name on it. You got $10. $10. There were no hokey handshakes. Cornell Brown, myself, J.C. Price, Michael Vick, Antonio Freeman, Andre Davis, nobody was getting paid. Even myself, we weren't making money, but yet we were putting our bodies and ourselves on the line. And they said, well, you're getting a free education. I will always say the kids playing now, and even I wish it was like that when I played, should get compensated. Are there greedy players? Are there players that are just trying to get the bag? Yes, no different from people you work with at your job who just are there trying to get money. But are there people that want to stay at a university? Yeah. There are kids right now with the JMU switch over. I know this, that were from high schools in Virginia that were at JMU during the Signetti transition. When a new coach came in, they got lost in transition and were told to hit the portal. I don't think fans understand the amount of kids that are told to hit the portal. Yeah. So this money, I hate the fact that some of the non-revenue sports are suffering, but at the same time, how many people are really going to see the softball team? How many people are going to watch baseball when they're under 500? How many people are going to watch gymnastics? How many people are supporting the wrestling program? It's always been about the popular sports, football and basketball, men's and women's. So I think it's a collective effort of how this system got in play. But the hypocrisy to me is what Jay Billis talks about, is when, excuse me, coaches move around and they go saying that, Lloyd, I want to be here. I want to see this thing get right. And then a bigger check or bag comes around and they leave. However, there's a contingency of coaches that don't leave and stay because they do want to get it right. I just think, money will always make many people feel uncomfortable. It will sometimes make people wonder, is that fair? It's never been fair. I mean, again, I played one spring, the entire spring in 1997 with 2 broken hands. I already had the starting position, but I wanted to play. To this day, I have two fingers on my hand that are broke. This pinky right here is still broke. It will never be the same. Now, somebody said, that's a pinky. Look how big and tall you are. Yeah, I'm not saying cry me a river. What I'm saying is there's levels to this when it comes to what we do physically, especially a sport like football, similar to hockey and boxing, where at any time you can suffer a catastrophic injury and your life or career could be over. Basketball is a little different. So I just wish people would adjust and do their homework and understand the stories behind it. And one reason why Reggie Bush was getting paid is because, under the table, they wanted him to get there. They gave him a house. And I know he didn't come from poverty, but what I'm saying is money's been out there. They've been paying. They've been doing it, man.
Absolutely. No, you couldn't be more right. And, and TV controls, like you mentioned, people not just going to go watch. If Tech baseball is 20 and 26, I mean, who's going to make a point to go watch them unless you're just real? But if football, basketball is on TV, because that's where all the money's coming in, so that's where all the dollars go, you have to follow the Ellerbick road. And that's why those 2 sports, in most places, are the only 2 revenue sports that the universities even hold, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I saw one of the comments when I was in the waiting room. Somebody, I apologize, I didn't see your name. Somebody said, why is Virginia Tech sports underachieving? That is a great question because I say this every year, especially when you and I get to going during the football season or even basketball season, where people say, well, they just need more money. I'm like, no, I think there needs to be more accountability on GMs and coaches paying the right players and putting the players in position that should be on the field. You look at, the teams that finished ahead of Virginia Tech. I think it wasn't just about money. Wake Forest does not have the same NIL budget as Virginia Tech.
No, not close. Not close.
Like, let's just talk about accountability and coaching, because there is a way that you can do both while players get paid. One rumor, because I'm saying rumor because I've not talked to Coach Franklin himself, but one thing I've heard from reliable people within the program is that one of the first things he did was adjust the salary for players that were being overpaid. He's going to take an old school approach. He's going to make sure guys get paid. That's not just on him, but it's not going to be a thing where just money's being thrown. And that's any business. I think, as you mentioned, 'cause, many times I watch your show when I'm not on, the smaller mid-majors are definitely taking a hit. But I think maybe you look at, okay, we're going to pay players that we know may be here multiple years, and we're going to pay the right players versus like the kid y'all Raffer's losing that scored the 53 points.
Yeah, Parker. Dennis Parker Jr.
Yeah, Dennis Parker Jr. played against Isaiah. When he was a senior, Isaiah was a sophomore.
Yeah.
I saw him play in high school at the great John Marshall High School. He was at NC State. But I will say this, Rafford probably knew they were only going to have him 1 year because that kid is a power forward player. And I think that's what you got to look at. But do you go and get a bunch of Parkers? Maybe you get some guys and coach them up. I think that's what's being lost. No, I know that's what's being lost, Rick.
Yeah.
A lot of guys and women are not coaching these kids up. It's like if you and I were at a draft and like on a video game, we're just getting a bunch of kids and we're like, okay, I'm going to try to take the best players out here, which makes sense. But how many times have we seen teams and coaches who get a lot of great talent and wet the bed and underachieve? The knock on Miami the last several years until last season was they always have a bunch of draft picks, but have yet to win the ACC, could even win a bowl game or play for a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they were paying people, but they weren't being coached up right. They weren't being put in position to win. UVA last year was a great example of, anteing up the money, getting some better players, but also most importantly, Tony Elliott and those guys coached them up. So I just think you look at, a lot of talk about Virginia Tech basketball. I know a couple of kids on that team, specifically Ben Hammond. He had a great season, but what is going on with the personnel? Did they overpay some people? Did they not use the rotation right? Did they not handle the timeouts well? I think that's what gets lost after a loss, because when I'm in the Twitter spaces, when I see the comments, why are we paying this guy all this money and he can't shoot free throws? Well, that's a fair question. But at the same time, why is the guy that can't shoot free throws in the game?
Right. Yeah. Make an adjustment. Make an adjustment. But no, you're exactly right. And you said this, you may have said this 2 years ago. I don't know, but I always go back to you and I always credit you, because people ask me about what's going on at Tech. I said, Dwight Vick said it on the show back before we started the YouTube show. He mentioned that the biggest thing that gets in the way at Tech is ego, because you've seen it and you've experienced it. And I think it's still going on. And I'm not just talking about Franklin. We know he has a massive ego. I'm talking about the way it's been presented by leadership on down for too long now, since really, to be honest, since Whit Babcock got here. That has gotten in the way. And I think back to you, you noticed that and you said that because, former players experienced it. You've experienced it, whether you're talking about stubbornness in coaching, whether you're talking about stubbornness from leadership, whatever it might be. Tech's gotten in their own way because they can't put their ego aside and their pride.
Yeah, it's absolutely ego. Especially prior to Franklin getting there. But, Franklin's got ego, and he should. He's won a lot of games, and he believes in himself. He believes in his system. I think you just have to manage your ego the same way you manage your roster.
That's right.
You can't be afraid to say, I messed up, I made a mistake, or, you know what, we waited too long to get him in the game. I think that's what gets lost. I do think some of the coaches, I'll give you an example of how ego can work in your favor. Tony Bennett, I've been a fan of Tony Bennett, the former UVA great coach for years. I was sad to see him step down, but he admitted that he wasn't cut out to coach in this new era of NIL and the portal.
Yep.
I respect that, because he didn't try to stay on and make it about him. He was like, hey, I'm going to step away. And the new guy they got is great.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? So, he understands, not to say he's a better coach than Bennett, because Bennett has a chip. What I'm saying is that some guys are cut out. I'll be the first one to tell you there's certain jobs and things in the game and the business I would not be cut out for, because I've coached on a lower level, high school level, and I've been a player, and there's certain things I don't want to deal with. So I know my temperament. I know what I'm willing to deal with. I'm not going to compromise certain things, but I do think it's doable if you know how to coach and adjust your ego. How many times have you and I been texting, or I've been texting my cousin Mike, or even in the former player group chat, and we're watching the Tech game, I'm like, why the hell do they have this guy on the field? He can't get it done. Why don't they look at another position? Why haven't they adjusted and tried another quarterback? That is coaching. And then after a subpar year, you say, okay, we're going to pay you more money. No, I'm going to say, you know what? You and your agent can look in the portal and explore. We are going to take a quarterback to push you this offseason, and he's going to have a chance to start if you do not perform well. And there are plenty of quarterbacks. People might be saying, is he talking about drones at Virginia Tech? Yes.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I love KD. I like him. But at the same time, everybody's got to be held accountable. And that's the thing. Even when you watch a movie or you watch The Sopranos, you had to earn. If you weren't earning, you were dealt with. I'm not saying kill anybody. I'm not saying that.
Right.
What I'm saying is accountability is something that's not fictional. It's real. And it needs to permeate through your program. Some of these kids are selfish. Some of these coaches are selfish. We talked about that, not just at Tech, but at other programs like, hey, bro, you cannot hire all your friends. This is not Muppets Take Manhattan, a.k.a. Muppets Take Blacksburg. This is not, we're going to get the band together and no. It has to be accountability. I grew up, before I just stopped liking NFL teams, I was a diehard Redskins fan because my dad and my father-in-law still are. And I liked the old days because I saw Gary Clark and Ricky Sanders and Art Monk play their whole career, most of their career in Washington before free agency came through.
Right.
The reason why I became distant from Washington is because when Snyder came in, what did he do? We got Brad Johnson who won the division, but I'm in love with Jeff George. We brought Jeff George in, who said, and I quote, leadership is overrated. You brought Jeff George in. You brought Bruce Smith in. Shout out to the great Bruce Smith. But at that time, he was near the end. He was chasing a sack record. You brought in Deion Sanders and got rid of the great Brian Mitchell. Deion had turf toe. He was near the end of his career. He wasn't the same. Brian Mitchell went on to have additional 4 or 5 great seasons. I believe he even made the Pro Bowl one year. Brian Mitchell was the guy that was going to play for you injured and not ask for a lot of money. And I think that's what happens. Snyder was treating it like, a toy. And you can't treat a business like that. There has to be, look, we're not going to pay you that. And I think that's probably why during the golden era for the Patriots with Brady and those guys, love them or hate them, you can call them what you want. I think that's one thing that Brady and Belichick and Kraft really understood. It was how to kind of pay people what they were worth. Of course, that came back to bite him because they weren't willing to keep Brady around. He showed he had 4 more years left in the tank. So it works at all levels, man. You just have to know how to work it.
You're getting questions in chat here. Brandon asked Dwight, how would you fix the portal and what's going on? But Brandon, you called it the wrong thing. This isn't name, image, and likeness. This is pay for play. How would you change the transfer portal and pay for play?
I don't think that's a good question. I mean, I don't have all the answers, but one thing I feel like is maybe make it where, like, I know you and Elmassian, Coach Elmassian, were talking about employees. I think, contract should be good, or just say, okay, we're going to sign you for a 1-year deal. But at the same time, scholarships are 1 year.
1 year, right?
They're 1 year. So at the same time, I don't think the portal is necessarily killing the game, so to speak. Is more so the fact that, okay, how can I say this? I'm trying to be respectful. College coaches, when they're recruiting kids out the portal, like if you are Albany or you are UAB or a Liberty, you need to go after kids that you feel are going to be at Liberty multiple years, and go after kids that fit your system and your scheme. When my son entered the portal, he heard from over 24 D1 schools. And immediately, like the entire 2 weeks, right? I knew just from talking to his agent, and I knew from talking to my son, the schools that were really with him and serious and had an eye on him. And, we're not looking at just trying to get the bag. But Isaiah's an old school guy, and he's also a kid that understands his worth as far as what he wants to do and play at the level he wants to play at. But I think the portal is what it is. I think the portal was always in existence. It's just official now. Kids moved around a lot back in the day, not as much. It's because when you move, you had to sit out a year or whatever. But they're kids that move. But as far as fixing it, is it the portal that's hurting people? Because I really feel like one thing you see with basketball and football is the portal has helped a lot of teams gain ground on some of the Alabamas that have hoarded players. Like you look at a program like Vanderbilt, you look at some of these other programs that have been able to navigate the portal. The year Tech lost to Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt when they were up 27-20 and then losing in overtime, that year that coach was fighting for his job heading into that season, he brought in 35 kids in the portal. Well, that proved to be beneficial. Virginia Tech, comparatively speaking, brought in some kids in the portal, maybe not that many, but quite a few. Only a few of those kids panned out. So is it like Elmassian said, I'm going to quote the great Elmassian, some of these guys don't know how to evaluate.
Yeah.
No, for real. Is it the portal, right? If I go in a room or I go in a store and I say, okay, I have all these options, and I'm listening to the sales clerk saying, you know what, this fits you, this is going to work for you, but I'm like, nah, I want this over here.
Yeah.
And I go over here and get this. That's my fault for overspending for something I didn't need and doesn't fit my system when I should have gotten this over here. Some of these guys, not to say these guys are materialistic and these are items. I'm not comparing players to property. I'm using the analogy of some of the people don't know how to shop for players. They don't know how to evaluate talent that fits their scheme, right? If you bring in a new offensive coordinator and your quarterback you have is an RPO quarterback, why would you bring a coach that comes in and runs a West Coast system? right? So let's use Virginia Tech as an example. Drones is not a Monty guy. Monty ran the air raid. Drones is an RPO guy. Why would you bring him in as an OC? That's the issue, not the portal. And the portal should have been used with Tech to bring in another quarterback if you are never going to play pop.
Right.
See, this is what I'm saying. So I know I didn't fully answer your question, but what I see with the portal is misuse of how to evaluate the kids that fit your system. Virginia Tech basketball bringing a great player, the kid, what's the Australian kid or whatever, that was a German, the kid that was really good, that started the season off really well.
Neo, yeah.
Neo had a great start to the season, but this is D1 Power 4 basketball. So the team started scouting him and playing him differently. That's when you as a coach have to adjust, you and your staff, and look at your roster, look at your bench, and look at adjusting to how they're adjusting to him. He wasn't a bad pickup. It's just that understand, once you get that kid, you got to use him or that young man or young woman and coach them up. I'll give you an example, and I don't know their NIL deal or how much they're making, but case in point, my guy who's been on my pod 3 years ago, Tony Roby, the wrestling coach of Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenal coach, right? And he's got a bunch of kids that have won individual national championships, at least a few. And he continues to excel. He continues to recruit at a high level. Why don't we talk about him more? Why is he not talked about? What is he doing differently compared to other coaches? It's just one of those things where I would emulate and look at what are other successful programs doing, because you can say, well, Indiana had a bunch of money. They had all this money. But one thing about Signetti is he can coach, because some of those kids were some of those kids were JMU kids that Virginia Tech never offered.
That's right. That's exactly. They ended up starting for him. Yeah.
They went to JMU, and I said to you before, JMU the last 4 years or longer has been the best program in the state, better than Tech, better than UVA, with no NIL, less budget, and those same kids, a majority of them went to Indiana and won a national championship before Tech and UVA. So is it the portal and money, or is it coaching? One thing that hasn't changed with the portal NIL is coaches got to know how to use these players, how to motivate it, how to hold them accountable, how to use your roster personnel groupings. Don't tell me, oh, I like our O-line, and then every time I watch the O-line, they can't pick up a simple TE stunt.
That's right. Or they jump. Or they can't stay in their stance, and they're
and they jump. Or you keep bringing in another O-line coach that is chasing the bag. Why was there no kickback and no vitriol for Rudolph when he left after 1 year to go to Notre Dame? Yeah, remember him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What about the coach we had that left to go to LSU? Look, y'all stop playing with me. Stop. The coaches are doing it too, man.
Absolutely.
It's just Tech has to get better at what they're doing. It's not a secret formula. Do I like what Franklin's doing so far? Absolutely. But hey, guys, don't share with me these drills of catching balls and running routes and tell me we're going to be better. Every time we get a new coach, there's great vibes. They're working so hard now. They got this new stop, man. It's a dummy drill. They're running over bags. That does not mean they're going to win 10 games. Everybody's working hard in this spring. Oh man, we got some dogs. No, we don't. We haven't put on pads yet.
You have no idea who the dogs are, right?
In dry fits. So stop with the hype.
100%. And Todd Gradman said that too. He sends me stuff like people are talking about, not Tech in particular, but yeah, everybody. I'm getting texts all the time. Man, Tech, you can just tell how much better they are. How can you tell? They're not doing. They're out there in their underwear. They now Saturday they're putting pads on, going head to head. Now you start to find football players.
Yeah, but it's like Rick. When I went to spring games, you go to a spring game. Nobody loses because it's your team against your own team. It's a glorified scrimmage. For 16 straight years, I didn't miss a spring game, and I began to realize, you know what, this is, especially when you get there and they have the teams divided up. You might see a few players like, wow, okay, he's going to be good, But I've learned that come August is when we're going to know what Tech is really about. And then we're going to really know when they go into Byrd Stadium against Maryland and you start to see them on the field.
Exactly.
That's when you know. And that's why fans continue to be disappointed, because you guys are the ones that create these unrealistic expectations. Not David Till, not Andy Bitter, not me, not Rick Watson. You guys, not all of y'all, but a lot of y'all, because you desperately want your program to be relevant again. You want a winner. So you tell yourself what you want to hear and you believe it. You believe the rankings from 247. I know most of those guys can't rank an orange, but you continue
I try to tell them.
They don't. I used to work for Rivals and 247. You know, there's a reason why you're like, why didn't we recruit this kid? Well, 247 had him as a 2-star. They don't know.
They have no idea. They have no idea. Exact. Thank you.
They don't.
Thank you.
They don't. And if you're there, get mad at me. Come at me at Twitter. I don't care. You can't change my mind, because I got too many receipts on guys that you underrated, that you didn't go scout, because they base it off of these 7-on-7 drills or these camps that they run, by the way, and they adjust the measurements in 40s. I've seen it done with all 4 of my eyes to hype a kid up. And meanwhile, Indiana just won the national championship with several kids that Virginia Tech didn't offer.
Correct. They had no scoring. Yep, I know.
Yeah, y'all do the math.
You'd be you know. You're not. And I hear it all the time. It's amazing how just because James Franklin's the coach, everyone's just assuming this is going to be an 8 to 10 win year when they haven't seen any of it come. They completely disregard what happened at Penn State. Blame everything on Penn State. James Franklin couldn't have contributed to any of that. But now, because of what you said, the desperation of relevancy has made them, a lot of Tech fans, just all of a sudden just assume. And at this point, no fan base has the right to assume any less than Virginia Tech over the last 2 coaching hires.
Yeah, again, we've been down this road before. So what did I say to you when we had the show the week after it was official, even though you and I knew he was the guy weeks in it prior? I said to you, I think Franklin is a very good coach. I think he knows the game. I think he will do well. However, everything he's done at Vanderbilt and Penn State, it means nothing here in Blacksburg. He's got a lot to prove, like the program does. Right. We have to see what he does in Blacksburg. Like, I could be a great therapist or a great person and do what I do here in Virginia, but when I go to, if I move to Arizona, it starts over. What I did in the past is the past in Virginia. It's a new environment, new state. I got to adjust to living in Arizona, West Coast time, dealing with different groups, different cultures. So again, we will see. Am I hoping he does well? Well, yeah, I'm a Hokie till I die.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, but at the same time, I'm a scorned lover, Rick. I've been hurt by the last 2 people. I mean, y'all keep telling me. I mean, I still feel bad about what happened with my guy Pride. That was not the way it was supposed to go. And then with Fuente, wasn't a huge fan, but it was the best hire at the time. And after that first year, I'm like, yo, this is great, man. You know, beat Arkansas 10 wins, and then Gerard Evans leaves. You know, and then you bring in Josh Jackson, and I think when I interviewed Trey Turner on my podcast, he played for 7 quarterbacks during his time in Blacksburg.
Unreal.
Some of that was before the portal. So that's misuse. Is that Trey Turner's fault, or is that messing up with your coach and not really believing in Hendon Hooker? When I kept tweeting, Hendon Hooker was the best guy for the job, and yet some of you fans were in my mentions, man, he's not that guy. Well, he went to Tennessee, was up for the Heisman at one point, and got drafted. So again, is it the coaching or is it the portal? Fuente, to me, it was the coach. Even though I think Fuente knows the game, he just didn't really care for some of the other attributes you need to be a head coach. So I just want to encourage everybody that's into these sports to really look at, when you watch it, trust your eyes and not the rankings. Trust the patterns and the business side that you see being done at other universities versus what you think is happening. Because a lot of these people are lying to you in these press conferences. I've seen guys sit up on the podium. We like what we're doing. We believe in this guy, this, that, whatever. and then they go out and win 5 games. I'm like, well, who were you consulting with? Right?
Right.
Again, man.
You're right.
Yeah, again. Anyway, I can go on and on, man. I appreciate this platform.
All truth. Nah, well, thanks for coming on today, brother. Are you good next week?
We're back on Thursday.
We're back
on Thursday. Yes, and then thank you for your flexibility, because every time
thank you.
I got to switch up, man. But I do a lot of different things in the community, man. So sometimes my schedule gets the best of me, but I get through it. And
it's great. And people keep asking, and I keep telling them that I wish you nothing but the best, you and your son. I'm not bothering you during this process. You'll be ready to talk about it when it happens. People keep asking, what's going on with Isaiah? I said, I'm not going to ask Dwight any questions.
I will say this, man. And thank you for everybody asking, because I know he's not at a Virginia Tech or UVA, but I do think he is really good. I mean, he's heard from a lot of D1s, and he put himself in that position.
That's awesome.
Some Rick, you're even very familiar with. So but at the same time, like I tell my guys at the Boundary Corner podcast, those are my brothers and my other friends and Tech fans, he's going to make the best choice for him, not financially, but for academics and basketball.
Absolutely.
I tell everybody that has a son or daughter that plays sports, especially at their college level, you go where you're going to play. Because only a small percentage of players play collegiate basketball, football, track, or whatever sport. Very few people after high school go to the next level. So you want to be able to look back and say, hey, I had this impact and I played. Right now, he's off to a great start. He went to Wingate to the freshman scoring record, and then he also was all freshman, was finished second in the voting for freshman of the year. He's off to a great start. Academically, he's doing great. So to me, as a father, as someone that went down that same road, that's what I want. Because whether he stays at a mid-major these next 3 years or he gets the chance to go to the Power 4, I want to make sure he has the impact. And that is what I wish these kids will understand while they're negotiating contracts. Nobody's going to remember you after 4 years, even though you got paid and you got a car that's $80,000, you got a Hellcat, and you got the chains and the whips. That's great. But what did you do for the game in your university? I played damn near 20-some, 30 years ago, but people still recognize what I did for the program, even since I graduated from speaking for Virginia Tech, speaking at Virginia Tech and other universities, because everything's about legacy. The money's going to go. After you pay your 1099, your taxes, you pay your agent, you might have a little bit left over, but the money's going to go.
Absolutely.
Your legacy is forever.
Right.
So I'm gonna leave you with that, Rick.
No, and your legacy is forever, my friend. No doubt.
Yep.
Well, good stuff. Congratulations on that journey. Can't wait to find out where he ends up, and we will talk to you next week. Have a great weekend, man.
Salute to you. Yes, sir.
Thanks, brother. All right, there you go.
Yep.
Man, how good is that, huh? Dwight Vick joining us on a Friday, speaking the truth. You don't believe me about all the stupid rankings by 247 and all that crap? Well, now you just heard it. They have no idea. Y'all can. Well, they got a 4.5 star according to this site. They've never even watched the kid play. They've never watched the kid play. And I don't mean putting on some film and watching a highlight tape. You know what they do? Because I knew a couple people. You remember Prep Stars magazine? Back when I first started the radio show in the early 2000s, Prep Stars was the thing, right? Before it segued into all that. I knew guys in the regional offices. They'd say, hell, we haven't seen half of the kids we're writing about. But when they get offered by somebody, we think, oh, well, we better, jack them up there a little bit, right? Ohio State's in on them. Clemson's in on them. Well, let's give them 2 more stars. Just trust your coaches to evaluate. They have jobs to do. They know they need to win. So they're going to bring in players that they've evaluated. I don't care what's beside their name. That's why Dwight's talking about Signetti. Bunch of 1, 2 stars. They didn't have a handful of 3 stars. No 4 stars or 5 stars. None. They won a freaking natty. Worst program in the history of college, Division I college football, and they won a natty. Actually, Tebow, Franklin did not turn Penn State around. It was Bill O'Brien. Because that program was almost given the death penalty by its own administration because of the Sandusky disaster. Bill O'Brien was the one who segued it and kept it going. I don't think people talk about the years. He wasn't there long, but the what was it, 2 or 3 years for O'Brien at Penn State? What he did at Penn State to get them back in a competitive environment, I mean, that got him back in the NFL. That got him back in the NFL. And now, of course, he's struggling at Boston College. But that aside, it was Bill O'Brien who got Penn State floating again. And you're right. Franklin built on that and took it to a bigger level. Absolutely. Because then they got back into football mode and they had people who stopped donating to the program coming back, and all that. But yeah. It's good stuff from Dwight Vick. Good stuff from Dwight. Continuing along the good stuff. There he is. Mike Ashley. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Oh, all right. Early morning.
Guest guy and host guy.
That's why I did that, friend.
I like it. All right, so let's get right to it. Carolina boy. Hubert Davis out. What's going to happen at Carolina? I know. Here we go. Yep. Your thoughts? I mean, it never, I don't know what it was. We were talking about with David Smith yesterday, Mike, because he's like you. He's a Carolina lifer from the time he was old enough to watch basketball, right?
I did not know that about David.
Yeah.
I thought I knew a lot about David.
So how did you look at this, and were you really surprised? I'm not. And I told the story. It's a little small thing, but the first game we played down at Carolina, last time we were there, he did the interview, and he was great. This time I got a call. We were walking to the arena. Hey, Hubert says he can't do the interview now. So we get up and we're setting up. They have us in the crow's nest there in ACC gyms. They don't put you courtside anymore because of the expensive seats. But
that's every
SID goes, man, I'm sorry. He goes, we're used to that. It's every day here with him. And it just kind of felt like something had happened. Something had happened. So.
All right. Well, yeah, we all have some anecdotes and things like that. We all see it through the prism of our own experience.
Sure.
So I get that. I don't know how much to put into that, but you could see that job wearing on Hubert. And I'm just going to jump right into open mic here.
Let's do it.
I think it addresses those issues. First of all,
okay.
Let me bring out some more artifacts.
What do you got? Phil Ford.
How about that one?
Phil Ford.
1975. Phil Ford kicks up his heels. That was the beginning.
BDST alum, Phil Ford, by the way. Yeah.
That begins to that. And this one. How about this one? How about James Worthy?
Oh, that's a great cover. What a great cover.
Over. Who was that guy? Ewing. Patrick Ewing. Yes. Sorry.
Great cover.
Chris Brust there in the foreground, who, by the way, was a junior high teammate of Craig Rue, who was the leading scorer on the Highlanders my first year covering the team. There you go.
Love James Worthy. I love James Worthy. You know what? I bet you were just ecstatic, right? The fact that he went from Carolina to the Lakers, you were just in heaven.
Well, think about George Lynch.
Right. Same thing. Yeah.
That's
exactly. Yeah. And plus he was local. That's right.
Well, right. So, and Steve Robinson, all those years. One of my things, watching games on TV from afar, covering Maryland, I was there at a lot of games to see a lot of big time dealings and Radford. And I was at Virginia Tech, including Del Curry's senior year, which they went to the NCAA. So I've seen a lot of this stuff up close and personal. And one of the things I enjoyed on TV was looking at coaches that I knew on the bench. And I said, well, if Steve Robinson's not upset, why should I be upset? It kept me calm during games.
That's right.
Anyway, again, the beginning, and I show these Sports Illustrated because we love talking about Sports Illustrated back in the heyday.
No,
the 35 years or more of getting Sports Illustrated, and of all the ones, and I've sold off a bunch and made a lot of money, but these two I still have, and they're the only ones I have framed. The only ones all that time that I have framed. So that shows a little what they meant to me there. Anyway, I was loud about, as some people will tell you, about keeping good guy Hubert Davis, part of the lineage in Blue Heaven. But there was something wrong as the Tar Heels kept stubbing their toes, which would have been okay anywhere but 9 miles from Durham. A lot in the news this week about Dean Smith coming to Chapel Hill in 1961, but that's when he became head coach. He was an assistant there since 1958, so this lineage goes way back. And, well, if you don't know what he did in his career in the ACC, for college athletics, for civil rights, for the game, for his athletes, well, that's a whole show in itself, so we better not go there. Yeah. But to me, even before I was a twinkle in my North Carolina-born parents' eyes, it was fast-talking New Yorker Frank McGuire, Dean's boss, that came in and made folks pay attention to the program there in the shadow of Everett Case and NC State and what they had done. Mostly with the 1957 triple overtime championship win over Wilt Chamberlain and Kansas. And remember, Kansas is playing a big role in all this over time. And there's still a silly reason I love the symmetry of pursuing New York native Billy Donovan. That's it. That Kansas and what Frank McGuire did with his what they call it, the Underground Railroad, all the players he brought from New York there to win that championship. But the question is about Donovan. Does he have interest in coming back to a college bench in the current construct of college athletics? We'll see. Apparently, Brad Stevens did not. Neither does T.J. Otzelberger, he says. All of us who seem to have him in the Final Four this year. But I worked in the media, and I know how this stuff plays out. Anyone remember Roy Williams' comment to Bonnie Bernstein following his Kansas Jayhawks 3-point loss to Syracuse in the 2003 National Championship game? Yeah. I could give an F about Carolina right now. If you go back and watch that tape, Roy took a lot of heat for picking on poor Bonnie, the former Maryland gymnast, by the way. But really, he was right. And he blamed it on the producer in her ear, making her ask that question. So he eased up on Bonnie. But anyway, what happened in that situation? So here we are, the pool of candidates. Now we're looking outside only folks that wore Carolina blue has Arizona's Tommy Lloyd in it. And he's one of my favorites too, for this simple reason that we just mentioned. Lloyd hired Radford grad and Roanoke Steve Robinson, who collected 3 national championship rings with old Roy, and then was let loose when Hubert took the job. So Steve Robinson went and finished up at Arizona there. So I like Tommy Lloyd a lot for that, which sort of connects him to that thing. And I love what I read about TJ and how he coaches and what he does. And I've got them in my Final Four too. But how could I not endorse another local, Salem's own Mark Byington? He doesn't have the pedigree the others have, but he's won everywhere he's been. And besides, and here's something not everybody knows, Salem and North Carolina have the same fight song. I always felt Roy Williams was on loan to Kansas, part of the original Dean Smith from Kansas to North Carolina deal. That's where Dean played for Fog Allen, who learned the game from James Naismith. Now that's lineage. But what do I know? I thought Matt Doherty was a great hire back at the time. I have learned this week that the Heels, not David Teal, the Heels have been calculating the current jump switch they made, which was a Dean Smith thing, for at least a month or more. So there was trouble brewing before VCU came from 19 down to make Tar Heels born and bred, Tar Heels dead. It's in the song. For me, I still remember pulling this out of the mailbox on a Thursday after I got home from school and kicking up my heels. And I hope I get to do it again sometime. I
don't think I realized Salem had the exact song, but you're right. They do, don't they?
So does Richmond. So let's not think it's too special. I'm a Tar Heel born, I'm a Tar Heel bred, and when I die, I'll be Tar Heel dead. So rah-rah for Carolina, rah-rah for Carolina, rah-rah for Carolina, rah-rah-rah. The blue and white will reign tonight, will win.
Yeah, there you go.
Or die. So just insert Salem's colors. But that was actually Andrew Lewis High School, too, which was blue and white, a different blue. But the same. So yeah, I mean, I had no choice. Carolina blue, which I didn't call it that, was my favorite color before I became a Tar Heel fan too. So
you think it'll be Otzelberger? Is that who you would you mind seeing that at all?
He's vehemently declined it. I just mentioned him. Those guys are I think Donovan is the best pick, and and for a silly reason,
I think he'd be great. Yeah,
for a silly reason, Rick, I don't like stealing other coaches from who have established reputations.
I get it.
Programs.
Sure.
So Donovan comes in with none of that baggage. It's got to be an interesting challenge for a guy like him, but he's got a pretty good job. He doesn't get criticized after every game now, even though the Bulls are not very good. And I never thought we'd be in this situation. I thought there'd always, but there's just the lineage has sort of run out. Who have you got? You've got King Rice at Monmouth, and he's never been to the NCAA in like double-digit years. And then there's Jerry Stackhouse, an assistant at Golden State now, who had a little bit of a run at Vandy, but not doing anything like our boy Mark Byington is. So it's just the well has run dry. And again, as with most things these days, it's another thing that makes me feel like a real old man. There was always Larry Brown and Doug Moe, and I didn't bring up Wes Miller, but he goes through that UNC Greensboro thing now, so he's tainted because we don't like Greensboro for what's happened down there, and with our boy Mike Jones. So it's tough. It's tough right now. Todd Golden, if you've read anything on his bio, there's some disturbing things that have come up in an in-house investigation there, and it's been they say there's nothing else going on, but I don't know. Dusty May, he's got everything he needs. So does Nate Oates. They've got everything they need to stay at a national level. Nate, I don't know. He doesn't strike me as a guy that would fit in well down there. And I don't know what the whole wine and cheese thing, and the Carolina fans who have that reputation for just sitting on their hands and everything. But there's a lot of stuff going on down there now with the Dean Dome. Everybody know about that. They want to move. They call it Carolina North to a place further away from campus. Because they don't have their luxury boxes, for Pete's sake. Hey, Durham's only got 9,000 seats, and they're making it work. So you could probably fix this and stay on campus, which I think is important. That's one of the things that has made the ACC so great. All the on-campus facilities, and I would hate to see Carolina lose that. And Roy has come out vociferously for keeping the Dean Dome. So hey, I stand with old Roy.
Well, I know Duke fans are nervous because they think Carolina is going to nail this, and all of a sudden here comes Carolina. I think Billy Donovan will be perfect. I think he's not going to mind at all the terrain of college athletics. I mean, he's been in the pros. It's going to be contracts. It's going to be free agency. He'll be able to manage all that. They'll have more money if a guy like that comes in. I think he would hit the ground running and pick right up where he left off when he left college basketball. I really do.
Well,
I think he'd be perfect for that job.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
You're like me. You remember Billy Donovan as a player.
Oh, yeah.
You just love guys like that. He was there at the dawning of the three-point shot.
Absolutely. He's a Patino guy. Yeah.
Right. And that's one of the things Patino did. He was ahead of the game in terms of using the three as a real weapon. And it started changing college basketball. By the way, there's another Radford connection, because I've heard Rick Pitino speak at 5-Star Camp at Radford. He's been so I sort of like it, but again, man, when you have a lineage of your coach, and that's everybody in the Carolina system now, all those guys on the bench who played for Hubert or Roy or Dean Smith. Dean Smith, that goes back to James Naismith, for God's sakes, through Adolph Rupp Arena. I'm not Adolph Rupp, Fog Allen.
Fog Allen, yeah.
Get myself worked up about blue here.
Allen Fieldhouse, yeah.
And I've seen a game there thanks to Steve Robinson. I was there at a tournament for the women's basketball team way back when, and Steve got me set up on press row. And
we played there. We played there.
Yeah, some Rock Chalk Jayhawk, and
great fans. Great fans.
I ran into the beat writer for the Kansas City Star for them, who was none other than Blair Kirchhoff, who I'd met back in the day at covering Radford, his first job out of Appy State. And then he covered Virginia Tech, of course, when at the time he was on the beat when Frank Beamer got hired. hear the stories from him. But I worked a lot. I worked the Idaho Vandals locker room for him that day. Got some quotes for him. So I should have got also contributing Mike Ashley in the Kansas City Star, but nothing like that.
And he got free potatoes for 2 months for covering Idaho. That's great. That's great.
No, the best thing about visiting Blair out there, I passed through one time and I didn't have time to stop. So, and Blair, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but he used to write these Mayberry trivia pieces for the Roanoke Times. Just as that thing was taken off with Channel 7 running the show every day, all 129 black and white episodes over and over and over, so that we all have every one of them memorized. And I called up Blair and I left him a note. I said, Blair, sorry, this is Mike Ashley. I was passing through town, but I didn't have time to stop. Actually, I didn't say it was Mike Ashley. I said, I'm passing through town. I didn't have time to stop. This is Malcolm Tucker.
Hey, real quick before we let you go, I thought about you. Coach Bender announced his retirement. And he's leaving the bench. You're going to just enjoy the rest of his non-basketball life. I know you're close with him, and he was at Radford a long time. And boy, what a great career he had as an assistant. Wow, 40 years, 40 years,
unbelievable. And Dick's one of those guys I look at on the bench, and I like to see his reaction to things because I know him, and he's pretty quiet. He kept this big board for down there for Coach Brownell, and. But he was obviously a key man because I saw how much Brownell talked to Dick. And I can believe that because let me just sum up what Dick Bender knows about basketball. Okay, I found out early on that Ron Bradley was the brains behind Lefty Drizel's on-court decisions. He was the guy that was diagramming. It was, and I'm not taking anything away from Lefty. He was a great coach, but he respected Ron Bradley so much that Ron was the go-to guy with strategy. When Ron got to Radford, one of the first things he did was put in the flex offense when he got the head job, which made Doug Day the national leader in three-point shooting. And we went from, 9 and 22 to 22 and 9, the biggest turnaround in the country that year with him as the top assistant. So he got the head job, and he brings in Dick Bender, and Dick Bender was his guy that was on the bench diagramming stuff and doing everything. So that Dick Bender, just a great career, a great guy, and it's a shame that I think he was one of those guys that got kind of typecast. No one ever thought of him as a head coach, but man, there was not a guy that knew more about X's and O's than Dick Bender.
No, he's great. He's great. He was great. What a great career. Well, we'll see how things play out now. Is your Final Four still intact at all? I lost Houston last night, so I'm screwed. I'm done.
Oh yeah, I lost Houston, and I'd already lost Florida. So yeah, we're done. We were done. We were dead on arrival. I think. I just did not see enough of the other teams, and I should have seen this Big Ten thing coming because I did watch a lot of that, although not Maryland, because they're not there.
Right.
And
right.
Yeah. By the way, just if people are interested down there, I know Buzz Williams is really already taking a lot of heat at Maryland because Maryland, in our lifetimes, hasn't seen anything like this since Coach Wade. After in the wake of Lynn Bias and all that. So this, but he's got a great class coming in, so there's a chance they'll be able to bounce back.
Yeah. Yeah, he better. He won't last long if he doesn't. So.
Right, because you can win a lot of games, go to the NCAA, and still get fired.
That's
Please
right.
Also see Hubert Davis.
Exactly. So. All right, brother. Have a great weekend, man. And
thanks a lot for letting me vent on this topic.
I knew you wanted to get right into it. I thought about you immediately. So.
All right. Well, Goober says hey. Goober says NCAA.
Hey to Goober. Everybody's already saying hey to Goober. That's great. Chat's picked that up now. That's great. That's awesome.
A lot of Andy Griffith today, so I'm very proud.
No doubt.
I will reference this to all my Salem buddies who will enjoy those references.
Yeah,
much more than the sports talk, actually.
Exactly.
All right,
man. Take care.
Everybody have a great weekend.
You too.
Go Highlanders.
Go Highlanders. Mike Ashley joining us on the program. Great stuff from Mike. I knew he would not hesitate to get into Hubert Davis. Jen's scheduled to join us next. I'm telling everybody, don't get your expectations too high. I'll be right back. I'm going to go let Creed back out. Don't get your expectations too high about the saxophone. Start preparing your messages now. I get the kitty out, okay? feel like I have to rub him on the head some too. I can't just turn him loose out there. Good stuff. Good stuff. So going back to Bill O'Brien here before Jen joins us. They had no scholarships, right? Every NCAA sanction you can think of. Permanent bowl ban at the time. O'Brien gets there the first year, 8-4. Big Ten Coach of the Year. Then he went 7-5. They beat number 14 Wisconsin in 2012. And he got that Houston Texans job because of what he did at Penn State. And then James Franklin came in, and much like, Jurassic Park. Remember when Jeff Goldblum's character is, talking to the old man about his park, and you stood on the shoulders of geniuses and you took it to the next level. But you see, you didn't necessarily, you didn't earn it. So that's kind of what Franklin did at Penn State. Now he took the success O'Brien had. He got everybody back on board with Penn State football. He was the perfect fit. Franklin came in and boom, continued to build the resources. They continued to win, and it's good stuff. Good stuff. And that's what people are expecting at Virginia Tech, right? And here he has to completely build it back. He didn't have to do that at Penn State. He has to completely build it back now, which he had done before, kind of, at Vanderbilt, but that's been a long time ago. A long time ago. So I understand the excitement, but let's just see how it unfolds. I remember when Brent Pry was hired and I questioned it on the radio show. I got ripped apart by people. He's a Tech guy. Come on. You can't criticize a Tech guy. I was getting hateful messages. My whole thing was, well, he's never been a head coach. He's bringing in coordinators that haven't been coordinators. Why is Tech doing that? Why is the athletic director allowing that? It never felt like it was going to be successful. This one feels like you have a guy who's come in and been successful. But given what Virginia Tech football has been, well, what about all the money? Okay, what about it? Everybody's got money at that level to a certain degree. Can you coach it? Wake Forest, it's a great example. They have some money, not like Tech, and they coached it. He got 9 wins. They were picked dead last in the ACC. It can all come together just like you hope, and Tech could be that team. But we'll see. We'll see. UVA came out of nowhere last year in a win or get fired season for Tony Elliott. They played in the ACC championship game. Won their bowl game. But I don't hear people giving Tony Elliott a lot of credit for that. Well, he bought a bunch of players. Well, they did that through the portal. That's not sustainable. Are you watching college athletics? That's all I've heard. That's all I've heard about Tony Elliott. Well, they spent a lot of money. And how are they going to do that every year? Because they've got more money now than they did going into last year. How do you think Indiana's going to be expected to keep up a national type of program? Because Mark Cuban immediately wrote a check for $30 million. How's Virginia Tech why is Virginia Tech now, along with hiring James Franklin, why are the expectations high? Because of this $200 million plus that, athletics receive. I think you're going to care less and less about how rosters are put together, and you're just going to watch what it might be. And to assume that anyone's going to stay or even be wanted to stay at this point is really kind of silly, regardless of how you put the roster together. Who cares? You think about it. If James Franklin wins 11 games and Tech's playing in the ACC championship game, are you going to care who gets them there? Are you going to care if they have to go back and do it again next year? At that point, you're going to trust him, right? To bring in more guys, because that's just the way. It's no different at Tech than it is anywhere else. And I still have people always, the recruiting, the high school recruiting is the backbone. No, it's really not. That's just a myth that's still being perpetuated for whatever reason. Joining us now on the program. She's not a myth. She's a legend.
I wish. Thank you. Happy
Jen the
Friday.
Gamecock Girl. Happy Friday. How are you? You're at work now, which means no saxophone. Yet again, no saxophone.
I'm just building up the anticipation.
I've already prepared the peeps. I'd already told them in chat to get ready with their comments. So there you go. There you go. I'm here for the sax, already starting. TP.
I see that. Yeah, I see that.
What's the update? What's the update? What's our estimated time frame between now and the end of the year? Let's go.
I'm just really in my head and concerned about the sound quality.
Now, I told him that.
That is the persisting worry.
And you're an artiste, so I get it. But trust me, the peeps and me, we're not going to sit there and go, "Oh, stop. That doesn't sound just right. The tenor on that just sounded a little, I didn't like the timbre change." Nobody's going to care.
What if I had you call a game and you had the worst sound conditions ever, and the whole time you sounded like this? Would you be like, yeah, that's great. That's good reflective work for me.
Yeah, but you're not going to sound muffled like that. You're going to sound great.
That hurt my voice a little bit when I did that.
Now you can't talk either. Wayne says saxless whisper.
Well, I'm sorry. The sound thing is just a big thing. Now, I have considered another way around it that I'm going to experiment with. So it's possible I might ask you off the air, not public, to do a little dress rehearsal. We'll call it
absolutely.
drop.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, just let me know.
And
Hit me up this week.
Yeah. If that goes well,
yeah,
probably we'll record that, just you and me. And if that goes well, then I'll be more inclined to.
Okay. Yeah, hit me up this week. We can do that one evening. Yeah, absolutely. We'll just.
Okay. It has to be after April 1st. I have a huge deadline April 1st. But once I hit that, then I'll be good. We have to get all our scholarships out by April 1st.
I got you. No, I'll be glad. Anything I can do at all to expedite the process. Yeah, put me in. I'm in.
Okay. If you'll help me with the quality control, then we'll make something happen. But the quality control has to happen first.
Now everybody's saying, so Rick gets a personal concert. Yes, I do.
He does.
That is correct. Yes, I do. All right. Well, you lost your baseball coach.
Good.
You mentioned it. Great dude. I liked what he said after. Some of your thoughts. I guess the question I have for you, and you've watched it happen, what has happened so quickly with one of the marquee programs in the entire country? Is it all him? Did money get taken away? What's going on down there with baseball? Because baseball down there, we talked about it. It's football, it's women's basketball, and then baseball. That's the hierarchy in South Carolina.
Correct. I think it really started to go downhill when Ray Tanner moved to AD, because he was just so successful as our baseball coach. And he was the one killing it and getting things done and building the legacy. And then when he left to become the AD, it just hasn't been the same since. Nothing good has happened since then. How many coaches have we had? Chad Holbrook, Kingston, Maneri, and then Monty Lee's interim. So 4, I think, since then.
Wow.
And Kingston, I thought he had some potential. He came from South Florida. I kind of liked him, but he did better than the other ones. We were at the regional. We did not win in the regional, and then he got fired right after that. So That was certainly an upgrade from what we just endured. The thing that upsets me about Maneri, I wanted to give him a little benefit of the doubt, but then he left, and I think he technically resigned. I don't know like how that wrapped up. He's going to get some kind of reduced buyout, but he was just interviewed by one of the LSU media, and he commented that people here were too impatient, and that made me really upset because in his presser, he was the one who was like, someone asked, "What's your 5-year plan?" And he was the one who said, "There's no 5-year plan. There's a 1-year plan. People deserve greatness here again. And, in 1 year, we're aiming for the championship." That's what, so he set the tone for that. And then for him to be talking badly about people here, it upset me. It was not a good way for him to roll out.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens down there. They got to find somebody because they're not going to tolerate that program being down for too long. So.
Yes, I agree. And now again, the new AD comes into play because he seems to be a very take charge kind of guy, very practical, more tuned into the environment of NIL and the financial realities of the current athletic situation with college. So I have some faith in him that he will get some good candidates together, but it's going to be a long way back. We're so down now, like it's really bad. But the players seem very enthusiastic about the interim, and it's Monty Lee. He coached at Clemson, College of Charleston.
So a Clemson guy is going to turn you around.
He's not a Clemson graduate, to my understanding. Where did he go to school? I don't know. But the players like him and are responding to him. And we played with much more heart since he's been the interim. We beat Arkansas in one of the games. We did not win the series, but winning one even against Arkansas was good because I think Arkansas might be number 4 right now. So that was good. We did lose to UNC up in Charlotte sometime this week. I can't remember which night, but they played with much more heart. And I think the fans are kind of excited about that. I mean, they can certainly do better than what they've been doing with this team, with the talent that we have now.
TP says, so only Rick gets Jen's sax.
To start with, yes.
By the way, they came up, a lot of the peeps in chat said, hey, just threaten her, make another bet on top of the bet she needs to pay back, that if she doesn't do it, she has to do like a couple of our pick'em segments next year in Clemson apparel. That would get her to do it.
No.
You imagine you wearing like a Clemson football jersey with a 1 on it? Ooh.
Well, actually, for Halloween, did you know this? I dressed as a Clemson fan and wore it to work.
No, really?
Yeah, I have pics of that somewhere. And I did have on a Clemson jersey and camo pants. And yeah, it was not a flattering Clemson portrayal.
Was it it was satire, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, it was not cute. The camo pants, and I had some fake yucky teeth, and the USC students loved it.
So you were making fun of the Clemson fans, what you were doing.
Yeah, it was a little Halloween fun vibe at work, and I had a sign that said "Bring back Danny Ford." It was before their championships with Dabo and everything. So
Morris says, Jen, I passed through Columbia yesterday on my way to Virginia from Florida, and I thought about stopping by, but then I realized I forgot my mouthpiece.
Well, I have plenty. I've got a stack of about 30 right now. I can look at one.
Wayne says I could go in and change your picks name to Jen Loves Clemson.
Oh, gosh. I can't handle that. It's already hard enough to be a Gamecock fan,
Along those lines, how's spring football going? Have you heard anything? Any reports early?
The majority of the sports chat time is baseball right now. It'll probably calm down shortly, and we'll get back to some football chat.
How's your overpaid, extremely underperformance-based quarterback doing? Is he okay?
You're so incredibly disrespectful.
All I heard was Heisman Trophy last year. Heisman Trophy, Lenore Sellers.
He's not done yet. It's not over. Still time.
Still
he was
time.
really, really, really good 2 years ago. Remember a Clemson game away and how well he played?
Yeah. Yeah. One game. Wow. Yeah.
He played well that whole season. There's a reason other schools wanted him.
Did they, though? But
They
they? They couldn't have wanted him too much because he went back to South Carolina.
Well, he wanted to be here.
Is that what he? Oh, is that what it was? It's loyal.
He has a girlfriend in my building.
Oh, okay.
So he seems
Have you met her?
happy.
Have you met her?
I've seen her. She's very attractive, as you can imagine. And I've seen her driving his, is it a G-Wagon, the Mercedes?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I've seen her driving his vehicle, so.
Okay.
Seems pretty serious. So maybe that had a role in it. I don't know.
Brandon says, rumor has it that Sellers will win the Heisman and Beamer will be National Coach of the Year. Gamecock fans are salivating over the head coach quarterback combo.
Okay. That's the way we think here. We're pretty delusional at times. So probably, yeah, we probably going to have that that vision of the future, hoping.
Oh, she's going to play. She will. We'll do the run through and we'll get a nice audio clearance from her. But she has to be clear. I tried to tell people you're an artist. How'd it go last week, by the way, you and your band? Y'all were traveling to Greenville, right?
Yes, that was really fun. The crowd was into it. A bunch of musicians in the crowd.
Ooh.
That's the most fun crowds to play for because no musician lives for being background music. Like while everyone's going around chit-chatting with each other. That's not fun for us. We like it when people are into it, paying attention. And that crowd was. So it went great. It was hour and a half. Something like that. And I was happy my face was prepared because that's a lot of playing. Like those of us who play instruments like that, hour and a half is a long time to play.
So my guess is that you had a strong performance that the mouthpiece was acceptable.
I would say it was serviceable. It was not my favorite. It's not the one.
That's all we need. That's all we need. Serviceable's fine.
Serviceable mouthpiece.
Serviceable mouthpiece. That's kind of what I've been to you for the last 25 years, a serviceable mouthpiece.
That would be a good screen name for you.
I think so. Rick Watson, serviceable. I don't know if I can spell all that. Mouthpiece.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of what you are. But you're extremely serviceable. ESM.
There we go. I'm going to change it right now. Let's see if this shows up here. There you go. Serviceable. I don't know if that's spelled correctly. That doesn't look right.
Even my glasses, it's so kind of small. I don't know.
Yeah. There you go. That's me.
Is your hair extra shaved? Something's different.
I think I spelled it right. Yeah, I spelled it right. Extra shaved?
It looks.
It's freshly shaved. Yeah, it's freshly shaved. It's this light too. This light makes it look like this light kind of makes it look different.
Is it headed more towards just being totally shaved bald? Because I think that would be cute on you.
I don't know. Like when I let it grow out, I still have it. So it's not there yet. I don't have anything. I don't have any bald spot or anything like that. So I don't know. At some point.
You should just shave it bald, though, just for kicks.
Chicks love bald dudes. I don't know why. Say, what is that? What's the deal with that?
I don't know. I didn't like it when I was young, like college age, but something in me, a switch flipped like around the 30s. And now since then, I think it's really attractive. There's something too about a man who's confident enough to just be like, I don't need this hair anymore. I'm just going to shave it all off. And
yeah.
Maybe it's that. Puts more emphasis on the eyes.
I live to make you giggle. All right. So Wayne just sent me your football schedule.
Okay.
You open with Kent State.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Towson.
Right.
Mississippi State. At Alabama. Kentucky. No longer with your boyfriend. At Florida. Tennessee. At Oklahoma on my birthday. Texas A&M at home. At Arkansas. Georgia. And Clemson. There might be 3 wins on that schedule, right?
Okay, well, the first 2 games, who else do you think are going to be?
I could see you getting the Kentucky game or Mississippi State game. Not both, but one.
Oh, gosh.
You're not going to win at Bama. You're not going to win at Florida. Not with that new coach and with the talent they brought in. You're not going to win at Oklahoma. I don't think Arkansas. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens there with them. Who did they bring in? They brought in a new.
They did. I don't remember who the hire was. It's somewhere else at Florida.
Oh, the kid at Memphis, the guy at Memphis, Satterfield, or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Georgia. Ooh, Georgia, and then Clemson. Ooh. Not a good year to go, hey, it's the championship or bust for us. It's the playoff or bust for us. Hi, I'm Shane Beamer.
Yeah, and any time in the SEC when you're struggling is not the time to be like, next year's our year. Yeah, that doesn't sound real great, does it?
Well, and whereas I don't have one, I'm sure Shane's bald spot's going to be even bigger this year than it has been. You talk about a guy who just needs to go ahead and shave it. Don't you think?
No, that's so disrespectful. Men
Just
are
let it go. Just
about
let it go. Just let it go, man.
He's very sensitive.
Just let it go. What are you hanging on to there?
I do think he should shave his head, but he hasn't consulted with me about it.
Punishment if Rick loses the Pick'ems next season, he has to let his hair grow.
A mullet would be fun on you.
I did not realize your schedule was that difficult after the first 2. Wow.
I mean, it always is. That's just the whole argument about, was this really a good idea for us to be in the SEC from a football standpoint?
Yeah. Yeah, it's worth it.
It's tough for schools like us, Kentucky, Mississippi State, formerly Vanderbilt, now Vanderbilt, different. I miss old crappy Vanderbilt a lot. So
y'all don't play them. I thought there was a rivalry there. Don't you have a rivalry with Vanderbilt or no? Not really.
I mean, a little bit, but
yeah. Okay.
Not as much as I would say. It's developed into more of a rivalry. With Kentucky. I think that's kind of turned into a little bit more.
Well,
than it used to be.
And that all started with you and Coach Stoops. I mean, the just horrible end to your relationship kind of made news on both campuses.
Now he's at Texas after flirting with Texas A&M. So what's up with that? I'm sure the A&M people are intrigued by that whole situation.
How's your bracket going?
Oh, it's hot garbage.
Mine was destroyed last night. Houston did not show up at all.
Terrible. Have you checked? Look and see where we're ranked.
Oh, I don't even want to see mine. Oof.
I haven't looked at mine, and I think I had Florida winning everything, so we know how that went.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's no good. It's no good.
I did have a women's bracket that is doing pretty well, but I feel like the women are easier to predict because there are fewer upsets and crazy things that happen in the women's game.
I am in 25th place.
Okay.
Someone named Ron Mexico is going nuts. Good Lord.
That name is funny, whoever.
Ron Mexico's he's only missed a few. Wow. Okay, so what's your name?
I miss football already.
That's right. Still searching.
Oh no.
You're in. Hey, how about that? Our numbers are reversed. You're in 52nd place.
Terrible. Last year I did really well. I'm trying to remember. Did I finish number 1 last year? Or I was 1 or 2 maybe, but
I didn't think I was in the top 30. Wow. Okay.
last year I killed it. This year I'm getting killed.
That got me last night, man. Of course, I can't stay up that late, but I got up this morning. First thing I checked, but I felt funny about that one, and I looked and I saw they got blown out. I'm like, good Lord. Boom. Hokies winning it all, Christus. That's funny. That's funny. Michigan winning the national title. They might, K-Run. They might.
Michigan looks really
KO.
good.
KO, huh?
Michigan looks good.
They do. They could. Arizona, I think, is going to win it all. I mean, they toyed with Arkansas last night. They had 100 points with 5 minutes to go in the game. They could have scored 120 points if they'd have left people in. Wow. They're really good. They're really good.
I do like the digital picking. It's to me, like doing the actual picking is expedited with the digital, but there's something about the old school paper, like crossing things out.
I know.
I kind of miss that part a little bit.
I know. I'm with you.
I used to organize the madness pool at my workplaces up in Virginia with all the paper things, making the copies, passing them out. Not the same anymore.
Not the same anymore.
Send people a link. That's it.
Brandon's got me looking for his. I'm trying to see. What's it called? B Walls bracket. I'm sure I've missed it, right?
B Walls. You could have come up with something more exciting and fun.
Yeah, it's pretty lame, isn't it? B Walls. But you're 36, Brandon. You're in 36th place. You're tied for 36th. But your national champion is still alive. My national champion.
Who did Brandon pick?
He's got Michigan winning it all.
Well, that was smart. Your bracket deserves something better than B Walls.
It does, doesn't it?
Because you're smart. You're a lot smarter and better at this than I was. So.
Yeah, he needs to have something like knowing him like I do. James Franklin is my hero.
Back in the day, I had Spurrier as my daddy a few times.
Yeah, B-Wall is his nickname, but, B-Wall's bracket could have been B-Wall's something, right? Yeah, you're right. Bracket. It needed to have a different name to it. We'll work on that next time, B-Wall.
Something more exciting.
What record do you think the Hokies will have in football? Too early to tell. They're over and under 7.5 wins.
Oh, it's really?
Yeah, that's what Vegas is saying.
I think we're at 5.5. I need to check that again. Have you looked up ours?
No.
I thought it was 5.5, but
that's not going to keep your coach's job.
I know. I saw that reaction, damn. Princess wrote. Yeah, that's not optimal.
7.5 is what Vegas says. I don't know. We'll see. Tech schedule's not tough on the front end at all. Last month is tough, but really they've got pretty manageable first 8 games. Yeah, they do. Other than some travel thrown in there. You don't, though. You've got your 2 gimmies, your 2 layups at the beginning, and then it's like, here comes Mississippi State, but 3 straight at home to start the season. It's pretty lame. That's pretty lame.
I mean, right now, I can't say that I'm full of excitement and anticipation for this season, but give it some time. I probably will be.
You know what that means? That means you get to host, though, 3 straight tailgate parties.
That is fun.
Wow. I mean, do you count games like Kent State and Towson as tailgate opportunities, though? I mean, I guess maybe more so because you're going to win.
Yeah. It's more relaxed, like in terms of the vibe. Fun.
But then the Bulldogs come to town. The first version of the Bulldogs, Mississippi State.
Number 1. Yeah.
You get both Bulldogs this year. Congratulations.
I think we'll beat them at home. I'm going to be bold and say that.
Okay. They might. They could.
No, Chris.
It's possible.
I don't know. I hope you're wrong, but it's possible. Chris is saying that might be Beamer's last year.
Yeah, I think you take might out of there, and you're exactly right.
Dang, B. Walls bringing the heat. Says Gamecock football will not deliver. Ooh, not proud. No love.
One thing about it, we'll know Shane is not a guy who controls the way he feels. So we'll know, like, when he starts to feel the collar tightening, right? We will know pretty quickly how he handles some post-game pressers and things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll see.
As I said, he's impulsive.
Correct.
And our teams play that way rather than strategic. They need more Signetti and less of that impulsive vibe. More strategy, more calm. Oh, yay, Chris. Thank you. Says he likes Shane Beamer.
He just doesn't know him like we do.
Brandon's being sweet now, too. B. Walls is now my friend.
Someone was asking me, how did Kent State do last year? They were 5-7. Kent State was 5-7 last year.
Well, as you recall, so were we.
Correct. They did play Texas Tech, Florida State, and Oklahoma, and they got destroyed. So you should win that game by 3 or 4 touchdowns. You should be okay there. Yep.
Yeah, and then we'll get all hyped up for Norris. Sorry, I'm very tired. Norris to win the Heisman and then get all that talk going again. You know
what are you doing this week? Are you traveling? You feels like there should be like a Jen travel for fun weekend coming up.
No, I have to work on all the scholarship stuff is wearing me out.
Then next weekend you're going to be.
I don't know. I've got a lot of work stuff right now. I worked 11 hours Saturday this past weekend, and we've just been pushing a lot of hours. We got to get all our scholarship offers out. Big part what I do. So,
okay.
And it's tedious, kind of draining work, which is why I'm needing a little refuel session.
No, I understand.
Anytime you're dealing with thousands and thousands of dollars, and you got to be very meticulous in the handling of all that, and you're allocating and awarding scholarships. So I will be very excited when it's done. I'll be done Wednesday next week.
Okay, good. And then it's party time down at the condo.
Well, it's this kind of job. It's push, coast for a little bit. Push, coast. So got this big deadline April 1st, and then I have a little bit of recruiting kind of time. It's at some point in there. I will go to Virginia, to Richmond, to recruit from all the Virginia all-state music events, band, choir, orchestra, etc. I'll be up there. And then May 1st is the day everybody locks in. So pretty soon we're done with this season of recruitment.
Well, you do an excellent job. You deserve all the free time that you can muster.
Thank you. I cherish the free time, and as you know, I do tend to travel a lot when I have it.
Oh, I understand that too.
And that's a lot of fun. But now I'm kind of scared to travel because I don't want to be in the airport lines for 3 hours.
Oh my Lord, what's going on there? Good Lord. Yeah, some of that just looks terrible.
It's not like Columbia or Roanoke, like the regional airports. I think you're okay, but
yeah.
The Biggie airport, like right now, if I had a trip planned to check in at a Biggie airport, I would reschedule it to a small airport.
You got no hope, 100%.
There are people who are doing paid gigs who are standing in line for you in those big lines, and then they text you when they get near the front.
I saw that. They're charging people to wait in line through TSA. Yeah.
That's actually pretty smart.
I guess it doesn't change the people behind you, because you're like, okay. Depends on how many people though you're waiting. Like if it's a big family and all of a sudden you got 5 more people in front of you, then it's going to start fights, right?
Well, that's true too.
So, all right, Jennifer, you have a good weekend. Good luck getting your work done. I know you will. It'll be great.
I don't think you've ever called me Jennifer like that.
Did you like that? Do you like that?
I kind of did. It was sort of It had some flair. Had some pizzazz about it.
You let me know how you want to hear Jennifer, and that'll be the way it's said going forward.
Hey.
All right, everybody. Thanks for giving Jen a hard time. And we're gonna do a run through. We're gonna work on that this week, and then we'll get a sound check, and then we'll. Every good musician wants to go through a proper sound check. I get it.
Correct.
Yeah. So I will do my part, chat. I will do my part. I promise.
I mean, you wouldn't work in poor sound conditions calling a play-by-play. You wouldn't do it.
Well, sometimes you can't help it. It depends on the venue. You just have to sit down and let your absolute brilliance come through. No, I'm just kidding.
You are brilliant. You are really. When I listen to your play-by-play, I'm like, that's my friend. That's really impressive. It is cool to know your other side and your professional side, and it is always so impressive when the switch flips and you get into your groove. No one's better than you.
Aw.
I mean that.
Well, that means a lot. Thank you so much, especially coming from you, because you hear a lot. And Jen knows my other side as well as anyone, so thank you for that.
It's fun.
It is. All right, get your work done. Enjoy, and we will we'll holla. Let me know this week what works. We'll run through whatever you need to do. So just
okay, after the first, please.
Okay, that'll work. All right, no worries.
All right.
All right.
Go Cox.
Be safe. Loves you. Be good.
Love you more.
Hey, be good. Stay safe. There you go. Jen the Gamecock Girl. Yes, I am Chris. I am a Radford grad. Matter of fact, I'm the voice of the Highlanders. You can join me today at noon on ESPN Plus. It's the Highlanders and the Longwood Lancers, the beginning of a 3-game big baseball homestand in the Big South Conference. Longwood comes to town. It's 17-8 on the season. Radford's coming off a big win on Tuesday down in Harrisonburg against James Madison. Eli Hutchins had 4 hits in that victory. Today now, it's Radford. Longwood. Sorry. Want to thank all our sponsors before we head out once more. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios. Get a free quote today, 540-200-8294. Welcome, Chris, by the way. Please show up every day. Tell your friends. Subscribe, please. Spread the channel. We have fun. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley, off of Walters Drive, 155 Walters Drive. And when we're done with this, we're going to tell you about next week's show, a Monday show. Wow. Professional Incorporated text line, 540-391-0788. Thanks to Travis and all the folks there. 38 years in business. They are the absolute best. We are presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. Go to the races again this weekend. Had a great time with Stacy Compton. Jonathan Sweet will join us next week. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Charles Lee is your guy. That's all you need to ask for, Charles Lee. Our question of the week was won by St. John's, as I thought so. 21 people said that would be the upset of the Sweet 16 tonight against Duke. Ryan is located at 701 West Main Street, trust and estate planning expert. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner, me and this program. Thanks to Lara Ramsey. They are the absolute best. Been working with them on refinancing some things, and Jamie has been unbelievable. ReadySetFund.com. Hut. Bob Chris, CRST11 at Gmail. If your organization wants to raise money, call Bob, email Bob, and read up on the Ready Set Fund. Sundown Electric, our newest sponsor. One of the best reputations of any business in our region. They're located down in Elliston. Superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication, honesty, integrity. Jeff Smith, you got more business coming your way because I already know. Morris told me. You're welcome. No, thank you for sponsoring the program. Thanks to the NRV Super Bowl. They're going to house our BDST meetup here in the summer. 382-5525. Go watch the Final Four games coming up next weekend at the Super Bowl. They're going to have them on while you do it and have special deals. And Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street. Give James a call, 540-381-8011, and Top Shelf Apparel, Brandon up in Dublin. But thanks, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks to everybody. Monday will be Marty and Rags from 7 to 8. Todd Grantham, and then whatever we get on before that. I'm working on J.C. Price. He's now down at East Tennessee State, obviously, so We're going to try to coordinate that next week. If it all works out, I have a feeling it's a conversation you're not going to want to miss. That's going to be a much bigger loss than many Tech fans are considering right now. Anyway, great week. What a great week we had. What a great show today to wind up the week, huh? Thanks so much to Coach Elmo. Thanks to Dwight Vick, preaching the truth. As always, Mike Ashley in the open mic, and Jen the Gamecock Girl. And thanks to you, the best audience around. Can't thank you enough for all your support. You're wonderful. You're as much of a contributor to the show as I am. This is our show, and I appreciate you all so much, even when we disagree. It doesn't matter. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the games tonight, and we'll talk about it all next week. Don't forget Marty and Rags on Monday, and you don't want to miss that. Everybody take care, and we'll see you on Monday.